They just came back. Just 2 days. Came inside. We're outside.
Oh, look how much people came. Allah. How you doing? So long there. How you doing? Listen, I can invite people. How you doing, Robert?
Okay, let's go. We're going to start the shiur. Okay, we spoke in the previous shiurim about the concept of shalom, which is a concept of peace. And the Gemara in Masechet Yevamot explains what peace is. Peace is where the Gemara gives us the following ingredients. It says that Ohev et Isho Begufo, someone that loves his wife like he loves himself. And we explained that loving your wife like you love yourself means not what people understand, that it means a physical bond. It's much more than that. It's more that you are there solely for her. It's one-way street. One-way street. Not a two-way street. Not a two-way street. This means even if the wife, we brought us examples like Gemara says, even if it comes to a point where the wife doesn't do anything in return at all, you are supposed to be there for her completely. Making sure that all her needs are met and you're doing everything just to make her happy. That's called Ohava Kegufo. Liking her like you love yourself. And the reason being is, we explained, is because your wife is really you. That is your, I don't want to call it half, that is your one complete together with you. That's one bond, one unit, being together. That is what love is. That's how we explain what love is all about. Then we explained also that love has to be there, although there's a complete difference between the two. You have nothing in common with her. She's totally different. And we explained that different is a must. A lot of people, they go out on a date, they live a life of illusion. They think that I must find a wife who's just like me. No. There has to be a difference. Just like in a business. You have two people, and they're two opposite tracks. One is a buyer, one is a seller. You can't run a business just being a buyer. You buy, and then that's it. You're left with no money, and then total collapse. What happens with everything? Then you sell 10 cents on a dollar. That's when you're a total loss. Total loss in the business. If you have one who knows how to buy good, another guy who knows how to sell good, you're good to go. Also, we gave another example. You have two people. One is very tall, one is very short. The one who's very tall, he can see far. But the one who's very short, he can see what's on the floor. He can find things better. He can spot things better on the floor. You always have to have that difference. And women, we explain, they are completely, totally different of us. They talk too much, men don't. They know how to get along with children, we do not. Well, I always say, you want to get something across to your child, have your wife tell it to him. Your wife will do the job. She knows that. Like a lot of times, the guy wants to, why is it that a lot of times, when the father walks into the house, everybody runs. Mother walks in, everybody runs in. That is how it is. That is everywhere. It's like that. Everywhere. And we explained also that women are different. They talk too much. They know how to sense things. They can come to a point of coming. Somebody walked through the door, and she puts an X on him. She says, "This guy is no good. Get him out of here. Stay away from my husband. I don't want to be close to you." How do you know? He didn't even say a word. He didn't say a boo. You say, "No, I know." And believe me, she knows. Chazal say, Yodat. She knows. She knows because she knows. As simple as it is. She feels because she feels. That is the sense Hashem put in the woman. I saw something interesting recently. The Balei Musar, they bring out and they explain that a woman, the reason why she is so, Chazal say, because she recognizes, she could tell a guest right away what a guest is all about. Guess what? The first guest that she could tell all about is you. She could tell exactly what you're thinking and what you're saying. She knows exactly, she could read your mind. You walked in through the door, she says, the guy had a terrible day at work. Right away she could tell that. And a lot of times when you have something against her and you don't really show it to her, she knows. And she'll give you that look and you say, what did I say? What did I do? I didn't do anything. Why is she going, taking it, to such an extent? Don't go that far. No, she could tell right away. Women, the way they think, they have avanta de lima. They have the understanding of the heart. Forget about the mind. Forget about what's logic. Nothing talking about logic at all. Talking about what the heart feels, the feelings, the regesh. They're very sensitive. It's not something which is like, we gave an example. Women, right? 100 men in the room and a cockroach runs by. Big deal. 100 women in the room and a cockroach runs by. Everybody's on the chair. Whoa, bug! So, hello, it's only one bug. Imagine there were two, they'd probably kill each other. They would step on each other. It would be running out the door. It would be catastrophe. What happened in Walmart? Green Acres Mall. Stepping on the guy, all the stuff guys got killed on the spot. Well, they didn't see a cockroach. They saw a computer sale. That was overnight, I say, crazy sale. But anyhow, we see there has to be a difference. There has to be a difference. They are different. She is a she. And you are a you. You're a man. She's a woman. They're completely different. And yet they are one with us. And they are there, as we explained, to make us complete. We said a man who's not married. Who's not married, he is, as Chazal called, the Zohar calls him plak gufa, half the body. A lot of times you find, you go to a shul, they say, what are we waiting for? Another 1.5 guys have to come short. 1.5 guys, what is that supposed to mean, 1.5 guys? No, one guy is married, one guy is not married. Happens to be his bar mitzvah, so he's it. We can call him part of the minyan. But it's always important to have a guy that's married. Chazal Gemara says, a person who's not married, no bracha, no simcha, no Torah, no choma. He says, the guy is missing out in everything, the Gemara says. Complete. You have a guy who says, I don't have to get married. I don't have to work on myself. That's what the guy is saying. I don't have to work on myself. Don't want any challenges. Don't want to make myself, don't want to better my ways at all. Don't want it. And that's a terrible loss, total loss. Then we went on explaining that there's another aspect in coming to having a complete total peace in the house. Besides the fact that Torah says you must love her like you love yourself, there's another concept called mechabda yoter megufo. Respecting her more than yourself. Respecting yourself more than yourself, which means a guy has to really realize who he is and what he is, and come to a point of honoring her much more. The Gemara says that before a person comes to a point of getting married, although the pshat is, the explanation of the matter is a little bit different, but if you look at the words of the Gemara, it will hit you. The Gemara says, chut darga, go down a level. Go down, bring yourself a little bit lower, and only then get married. A guy who thinks highly about himself, it's a broken marriage. It's not going to go. It's not going to start, the Gemara says. Only when you go down a level, you bring yourself down, because you know why we always look at, every person is meshuchad. He's biased. Nobody looks down at himself. We all look up at ourselves. Look in the mirror and say, wow, Prince Charming, you look good. Wow, what a handsome guy. All of us. All of us, we all think we're beautiful. Beautiful. Everybody thinks this way about himself. Why? Because me is me. 3 people, I say, right? Me, myself, and I. It's always me. 3. Always. That is the way we are. So the way we have to come to a point is go out of ourselves, meaning not just going to the side. The Gemara says you got to go down. Bring your pride down and only then get married. Because if you don't do that, you'll never learn how to respect her. Why is it that we have to respect her more than we honor ourselves? And the Gemara Rashi gives an explanation. Rashi says, Gemara Yevamot says right away, honor your wife more than yourself. He says, because ziluta di'idita kasha mitagavla. Chazal say the belittling of a woman. The way a woman feels is, when it comes to feelings, is worse than a man. If you come to a point of not honoring her, if you don't honor your friend, the guys are guys. No. No. Women is totally different. Women are totally different. You cannot act to your wife like you act to your friend. He said, what's the big deal? I do the same thing to my friends. You did not marry a friend. You married a woman, and you have to know that. Don't you ever say, oh, listen, I know my mom, I know my sisters. No. It doesn't go that way. It does not go that way at all. The belittling of a lady is worse than a man. When you come to belittling a woman, that is the worst you get. The Gemara says, another thing the Gemara says, never hurt a woman. Don't say anything wrong to her. You know why? Because Chazal say, it says, 1 second, just find the Gemara for you. The Gemara in Masechet Bav Metzia, and Daf Nuntet Amud Bet, I believe. It says over here the following. The Gemara says, Amarav, Rav said, Lo'olami Adam Zahil Bo'ona'at Ishto, always should a person be careful. Yes, Zahil, be extra careful. With what? Ona'at Ishto, in hurting your wife. Shemitoch Shedimata Metzuya, because her tears are found. Her tears are found. They're right there. I mean, you don't have to see it come out. It's there. A guy can hold himself. She cannot hold herself. She cannot hold herself. And right away you say something bad, the tears are running. And Chazal said, Ona'atam Mekrova, because her tears are more available, the hurting, the pain is more frequent to happen. And the Gemara says a scary story. This is not a joke. There was a big Chacham, I forgot the name. The Gemara brings it down. I don't remember where the Gemara is mentioned. It says there was a rabbi who used to come home once a year. Erev Kippur, he used to come for Yom Kippur. His wife used to let him go. And he used to leave his yeshiva early in the morning, and he used to walk. He used to walk from the yeshiva to the house. And by the afternoon time, early afternoon, he was already home. One day he came out of the yeshiva and he was thinking about what he learned. Can you imagine? He's osek b'Torah. He's learning Torah. The biggest mitzvah in the Torah. He was thinking hard, and he couldn't concentrate on something. While he was walking, he says, you know what, let me sit down beneath this balcony, and let me think, let me delve into it a little bit more. Says his wife, she came out. You know how women are. We explained in the previous show. When her husband says he's coming at 7 o'clock, the first time she looks out is at 5 o'clock. He's coming at 7. She's looking out at 5. Why? Because she always says, maybe he'll surprise me, he'll come home early. She awaits for him. She hates being alone. She expects him. Sometimes he does come early. He never, for the past 25 years, he never came early. And she'll still run out, look out the window. Maybe he's coming. Maybe something happened at work. He'll come early today. Every 25 minutes to an hour, to a half hour, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, she'll be looking out. Maybe he came, maybe he came. And this woman, she was waiting for him. She was expecting him to come home. She was waiting and waiting and waiting, and the Gemara brings down this very sad end to the story. It says she came out to look out for him. She didn't see him coming. Another 5 minutes she came out. She didn't see him coming. Another 5 minutes. It says the second that her tears, the eye got wet, and she dropped one tear out of her eye, the balcony ripped off its place, fell on top of the guy, on top of the rabbi and the Chacham passed away. That is ona'at isha. Chas v'shalom, to come to this point of having a wife tearing away, crying. Scary. Why? Because he was sitting beneath the balcony thinking about learning Torah, but this has caused her pain. We don't understand how these things work, but this is what woman is all about. And we have to be always ready and prepared. Be always on guard. Always think, what is there that I can do just to do extra more for her, a little bit extra more. Gemara says, Torah says, scroll down. It says, Yaakov Avinu, Bechil Hashem. Can you imagine the chosen one of the Avot? The choice, yes, from the forefathers that we had. He was the one who was chosen of the Shvatim. It says, when it came to loving Rachel and loving Leah, Chazal say Yaakov Avinu gave a little bit more attention to Rachel. And Chazal say, Torah says, Vayar Hashem kisnu'a Leah. Hashem saw that Leah was hated. Yaakov in Chas v'Shalom did not have any hate towards his wife. But because he gave a little bit more to Rachel, that did it to her. That did it to her. She felt like she was not being paid attention to and she's hated and whatnot. And Hashem gave her children. Listen to this. What does it mean, Mechabdai Yotel Megufo? What does it mean to honor her more? There are many things. Chazal say specifically, buy her beautiful clothing. Much more than yourself. Chazal say, come to spending money. Your wife and your children come to you spend more on them than you spend on yourself. When you finish spending on them, that's when you start spending on yourself. Buy her beautiful clothing. How far does it go? The Chazal bring down, the Gemara says, to what extent does it go that women want to be paid attention to? And they don't want to feel belittled. Chazal say, even if you have a woman that she is not 1 foot in the grave, 1.5 foot in the grave. Very bad. She's so sick. The doctor says she has 2 hours to live. Chas v'shalom, we should never hear of this. 2 hours to live. And Chazal say, it's Erev Pesach, it's Erev Shavuot, it's Sukkot time. Go buy her a gift. You'll ask, 2 hours left. 2 hours left. No, go buy her a gift. She shouldn't feel belittled. She might be, 90% not there. Go buy her a gift. Mechabdai yotel megufo. Give her that honor. The Gemara says another story. It says almanah. There was an almanah, a woman, that she lost her husband. Should never hear of this. It's a very terrible state. And it says that this almanah, she came to one of the Chachamim in the days of the Gemara. She came to him and she said to him, you know that I am bereft. I lost my husband, lo alenu. Right? The husband passed away. And I have needs. Every woman has her needs. A husband should know. She wasn't missing anything in her parents' house. She had everything. She came to your house. You agreed. You agreed and you promised. You're going to take care of her. Some ktubot, if you look at certain nuschei al-ktubah, they have over there a shvu'ah. They have promises, not just promising. Swearing that he will honor her and treat her like a good Jewish girl. Do everything for her. Can you imagine how far this goes? The Gemara says a story goes so far, she tells him, I need. She says, okay, let me hear what your needs are. And she says to him, food, tables, chairs, the painting, taking care of the house, construction needs to be done. I don't know what she had over there. A whole list. At the end of the list, she tells him also, don't forget, I need the silky clothing for myself. I need beautiful silk clothing for myself. Shirai. The rabbi looked through the list. He says, okay, this I understand, this I understand, and this I also understand. But Shirai Lamalach, what do you need beautiful silk clothing for? The husband is gone. He passed away. What do you need that for? You know what she told him? For people like you, for you and people like you. You shouldn't look down at me. If I'm going to look like a schlep, if I'm not going to wear proper clothing, that is a belittling of me. And I cannot tolerate that. And the Gemara says he had to provide. The Chacham went out of his way to go raise money for this almanah. And he gave her beautiful clothing. We have to learn and understand what a woman is. This is how far this goes. There are many other things that you have to realize, that not to belittle her, chas v'shalom. And let's go through. I have a whole list. I wrote 2-page list, long list of trying to point out certain things you should know. Let me tell you something. Rabbi Miller Zatzal, he says he dealt with Shalom Bayit for 50, 60 years of his life. And he knew exactly where is what and what to have where, which kind of approach. He gave something called 10 commandments of marriage. Rules that you don't dare break. And he mentions a lot of them. I went through, tried to skim through some of them, and will point out some of them. But he says in the beginning of those 10 commandments, you should know, he says, there's no set rules for these things. You're never going to find a book that tells you how to act when. Like, on Tisha B'Av, I feel funny that we even showed it over here. Outcast. Remember that Jewish movie we put out, right? And that boy that had a guide, a book, how to make friends, right? And at the end, when the whole story was like, oh, okay, even me, it is working. It's finally go. I got the guide how to make friends. There's no guide. There's no specific. First thing comes out, yes, there are certain rules. And our Chachamim, Chazal, there's Gemarot, there's a whole sea of Torah that explains how to do and what to do, what to pay attention to. But there are a lot of things which are common sense. You have to use your common sense. And you have to be always on guard. Because every situation is different. And if you don't study and you don't put your effort into it, guess what? You'll be always questioning yourself. What am I? Where is it that what is it that I'm missing? What am I not doing correctly? What am I not doing right? So let's go through some of them and I'll just give us some ideas. Harsh talk. Talking harshly to your spouse. It goes both ways. A husband to the wife, a wife to the husband. Just this one little difference I want to tell you. A man has no right to talk harshly to his wife at all. If he wants to put his foot down about something, let's say, there are things that he has to make things clear. He has to know how to say it. Harsh talk, just blowing up at her, blowing up at her, is not the way to do it. No harsh talk at all. If let's say you see something is not right, you could say, this we don't do. Don't say, you don't do that. No finger pointing. We don't point fingers at anyone. You say, this we're not going to do. And believe it or not, women are much more smarter and they have a lot more understanding than we do. And most of the time, you should not, believe it or not, they're right. We just have to put our pride down and agree to it and say, you know what? You're right 100%. Give in. Give in. Never speak harshly. No harsh comments. No harsh statements. No talking loud in the house. Get used to it. Never raise your voice in the house. You don't need to put loudspeakers in the house to get a message across. The other person does hear you. Never think to say that she's so stubborn, she just doesn't listen. The problem is it's the other way around. Look in the mirror when you say that. He's so stubborn, he just doesn't listen. Learn to listen. Learn to listen. Gemara says in Masechet Shabbat, it says there are certain things a person should say, betoch beto. You know what the Mefarshim say from that? That whatever you say, make sure it's only heard in your house. Like the Bukharians have the saying, right? Chokrichi, shwaiyot, chodot sodi, dachalirav, vayavos. Huh? They say they could hear you 10 houses away. Come down. Say things that are heard within your house. Don't talk loud. Talk calmly. Now this applies not only when there's only 2 of you in the house, but when there's going to be 20 of you in the house. Also, talk quietly. You want to say something, and you're downstairs. Don't yell. I'm talking to myself. Baruch Hashem, many of us have 2-floor houses, some have 3-floor houses, and the guy yells them down. Can you get the thing? So why are you yelling? Go upstairs. Go upstairs. A little bit exercise. You won't hurt you, believe it or not. Your back is not going to break. Go up and you say, I just want to point out something. I want to tell you something. I want to know something. Can you please tell me? Don't talk, never talk loud. Never. You should know. This shows off on the children at the end. Chazal say when you see a child say something on the street, you should know it's coming from the house. A child yelling and screaming on the street because the parents are screaming. That's a known given fact. It's a known thing. Don't embarrass yourself. Control yourself. You don't want things, to... When you face the mirror, you don't want the mirror to show through across to the others what's happening out there. No one's supposed to know. Another one. We just mentioned this part. We just want to point out nothing. Never cause pain. Never cause any pain. Now, we don't talking about being abusive. We're not talking about hitting. That is for sure asur, nothing to talk about. Never raise your hands. Or just, by the way, before we go further, if you ever hear a harsh remark from your wife, don't take it to your heart. You should know a woman, when they express themselves, it's only talking because of her feelings. And I heard a story. I was talking to someone the other day, and she yelled out. She told him, "I want a divorce." This is a word that's not to be mentioned in the house. Never. No, the word get, the word divorce, never say it. Never mention it in the house. It's a rule. But she yells to him, "I want a divorce." So he says to her, "Okay, so how are we going to do it?" So when I come home, goyim, not Jewish people, far from Jews. You should know at least when the Jews, when they fight with words, goyim, they come with guns and knives. Rabbi used to say that. You know how many times the in-laws and outlaws, right? Whatever it is, fighting, killing, guns, don't ask. When the wife says something harsh to her husband, don't believe it. So the story goes on. She says to him, "When I'm home and you're away, but when you want to come home, let me know. I'll move out for that day. We'll switch off." So he says to her, but when do we start dating? She says to him, "Dating? Then I really want a divorce." So he looks at her and he says to her, "Isn't that what we just were talking about? That's how it started. You said you want a divorce." Never believe anything the wife says. Whatever she says to you, it only comes from feeling. She doesn't even mean it. You want to get to the bottom of it? We mentioned this in the last shul. Chazon Ish, when he used to want to hear a wife that has what to say, and she's complaining, she's going at it, he would listen to her, say, "Can you please do me a favor? Can you repeat the story again?" And she would tell it to him all over again. He says, "Okay, no, can you do me a favor? Can you repeat yourself again? Just tell it to me one more time. I want to hear I want to hear the problem. I really feel your problem. I want to hear it. I want to really understand you." At the end, she kept saying and saying and saying. At the end, he would say, "Oh, now I got it. This is where the problem is." Because women, they dramatize it to you. They tell you a whole story. They'll beat around the bush, and then they hit the bush. Then they tell you what it really is. That's how women are. Never take anything serious that whatever they say. Especially whatever, it's normal, it comes. Comes. Don't ever get insulted. Never get insulted. Okay? Next one. Never say anything negative to a wife. I have some examples. A husband comes and he says to his wife, "Listen, this is the worst statement ever will someone ever mention to his wife." He says, "I saw somebody on the street that looks more beautiful than you."
I want another voice.
I would say stupid, but okay. Another one. "You are a bad wife." What? Never say shit. Another one. "I hate you." Okay, another one. "You're ugly." I don't like the way you look today. The dress you put on is ugly. You look awkward. They are so, I don't know how to even, I don't normally hear these kind of things. But the guy just lets it out. Another one. I don't like you. You know, it doesn't have to go about you. You could say something that it's close to her. I don't like the food you made today. Who asked you to comment? The only thing you're supposed to do is just sit down and eat. A guy is full. He came home from the street. He ate something. He found on the way, saw the ice cream truck, couldn't hold himself. So I deserve a treat. Right? Like you see the highway there, right? Billboards. A beautiful kitchen. And they write over there, come on, you deserve it. I said, sure I deserve it. Right? Or the guy says, I deserve the ice cream. My wife never lets me have it in the house. She only cares about the guy's health, but yeah. I didn't buy it for you, I bought it for the kids. Okay, fine. The guy treats himself. He eats one ice cream, another one. Just tells the truck driver, please don't drive away too fast. Just need one more. He comes home, he can't look at the food. He worked hard making that food for you. Sit down and eat. I don't care if you're going to explode. Eat. Eat. You don't like something, don't say it, I don't like the food you made. You could say one thing. Wow, it looks very, very good. I'm just not used to the taste. I'm just not used to the taste. And you should know, I heard something very interesting. There was a guy who wrote a book. He says you might not like something the first time. Not like it the second time either. But the third time and fourth time, you get along with it. No matter what kind of food this is. There's certain things, salary. Can't tolerate it. And yet, it's in the soup swimming away. Wow, I love the celery. Can I share with you? That's a different thing. You eat, regardless of what she makes. You have to eat. You are invited to dinner. You never skip a dinner. You always eat the food, say, delicious. You're a wonderful cook. I love the way you, I don't get along with many other people. Sometimes I eat other people's food, my stomach hurts. Every time, there was never a time that I ate food that you made and my stomach, and it caused me pain. Yeah, I threw up once, but no big deal. Not because I ate something here, I ate something earlier today. It was the salary. Never bad remarks. Never say things that will put her down, especially in front of children. In front of children, you always say, your mother, I love that woman. You're supposed to say these things. Children. What you do is, you say, oh, that lady, that woman, I love her, can't live without her. These kind of statements children have to hear. Has to be done. You're supposed to say things that, like, for all the opposite of what we said before. All those negative remarks. You're supposed to say to her, even if she's 99 years old, and she's looking in front of that mirror, Rabbi Miller says, she looks at the mirror and she says, one more wrinkle. And you know what you're supposed to turn to her and say, honey, you look as beautiful as the day I met you. You look as beautiful as the day we stood under the chuppah. You are as beautiful as I ever knew you. You're beautiful. You should know, one time I heard a story. Somebody forget about men saying it to a woman. One of the people from the side came and said, you know what? I think you're getting old. I see that wrinkle. You know what happened? That woman didn't sleep the whole night. She woke up, she did not sleep the whole night. She started to worry. This is something which is very painful. We don't understand these things. Ziluta di'idta kasha b'degavra, Chazal say. The pain of a woman, belittling a woman, is worse than man's. We don't understand this. When you say something negative, you took a knife and you stabbed it. You put it into her heart. Never say anything at all about how she looks in the wrong way, in a negative way. Say, honey, you look beautiful. That dress is very beautiful. It's very nice. You have a great taste. You have to know how to say things that are positive. Optimism is needed. You're supposed to also remember to say other nice things. For example, thank you, please, you're welcome. Or if someone is eating, hare appetite, bon appetit, something nice, say it. Say nice things. Learn. Avraham Avinu spoke to his wife Sarah. Always, hine, na. Always the word please. Always. Always please. And he was 99 years old, 100 years old. Torah always mentions it one after another. The word please always remained in his mouth. Always. Another one. Being loyal to one another. Loyal is part of marriage. Example, sticking up for your wife. Stick up for her, especially in front of children. Never let a child talk with arrogance or chutzpah to a mother. You say, we don't talk that way to our mother. Never did I hear anybody say such a thing to my mother, to his mother. Always stick up for your wife. Always. Somebody said, your wife, she made that cake. It wasn't that good. You say, what are you talking about? Do you understand anything about cakes? Do you have any idea? She's a wonderful balabusta. She cooks phenomenally. Somebody says something, right? Oh, your wife. Say, what are you talking about? My wife? She's a great woman. She's the best. She always tries to save money. She doesn't waste. Sure. We look at the credit card statement right end of the month, but that's private. No one's supposed to know about it. Always say great things about her. Stick up for her. Always. I have more examples. 1 second. Here. Another one. And especially being loyal. Never say anything about your wife to your parents. Not for them to know. Always say good things only. Your mother says something, your wife, what about her? She's a wonderful wife. She's a good mother. She's a good wife. She always takes care of me. The laundry's always done. The house is always clean. She's very clean. She's very neat. Always put together. Takes care of the children. You have to say always positive things. Never anything negative. Stick up for your wife. Your wife gets offended, say, who's bothering you? Let me know. Roll up your sleeves, say, I'll show the guy. I'll show the guy a thing or two. Why not? Go over and say, excuse me, that person is my wife. You better watch the way you act. Act a little bit more politely. You stick up for your wife. You have to be loyal. Another one. It's a good one. Giving money to your wife. People have to know that it's a normal thing to do. Some people decide that my wife, she can't go shopping. She doesn't know how to buy things. I know someone, believe it or not, they're married for so long, the wife never has any money on her hands. When she has to go buy a pot, he says, I'm coming with you. And if he gives her $20, she has to come back with a receipt, with change, return here. Go ahead, it's yours. Kol hakavod to that wife that she's able to tolerate such a thing.
I got married.
Kol hakavod, she's able to. But you should know, this is not proper. You always have to make sure that she has something on hand. Don't leave a wife without money. And always you should know. You want to know what the first fight in the house begins from? It begins from the fact that there's no money. comes, Chazal say, אין לעולם לא מצויה מריבה בתוך ביתו של אדם אלא על עסקי תבואה. Only because of food. No food, no produce in the house, no money. This will cause a big conflict in the house. Causes fights. Especially if this is the money she earns. A lot of guys, they come with the Shulchan Aruch. They say, look, I find it for her. Anything your wife owns belongs to me. Okay, give me a paycheck. Relax. I understand that there's a halakha, but you have to have common sense. Use the brain. It's such not a proper thing to do. You always say, honey, don't wait for her to come to you like this. Don't wait till she comes. She's not a beggar. Come on your own. Don't say anything. Just go over to her pocketbook, open it, don't dig in there. You have no right. You don't go digging into her personal things. This is her bag. And if she says, can you please, you could take the keys from my pocketbook. Don't go into there, take the bag, bring it there. Honey, can you please find it for me? This is her private things. You got to relax a little. Let her have her room. She needs some room also. She's not a slave. She's not a servant. I know Chazal say women like a shivcha in the house, right? She's like a maidservant, a handmaid in the house. Sure. That's as far as she goes. Not as far as you go. She'll take care of you. She'll honor you. She'll respect you. She'll do everything for you. Say one good thing to your wife, she tells you 10 good things in return. A little bit honor to her, she'll carry you on her head. What will be if a guy picks up the phone and says during the day, hi honey, how are you? A guy says, you know what? He's afraid to say it. Say it, I love you. What's wrong? She'll only feel better, she'll only feel good. She'll say, wow, my husband loves me. She'll tell you, honey, what happened? You're calling suddenly to the house? Say, I'm thinking about you. Say, I love you. So I called you to see how things are going in the house. There's a guy, a true story in Eretz Israel. The guy got married, he tells his wife, listen, let me make one thing clear. As far as I go, I love you. If there are any changes, I'll let you know. Ehaba. Haram. Stupid. Who does such a thing? 18 years passed and she asked him, honey, do you love me? It's a true story. I heard this. When I heard this, I said, wow, how could a guy be so cruel? Poor lady, waited. You know what he said to her? Didn't I tell you if there are any changes, I'll let you know? The guy is not normal. He has issues. He has to go to a doctor. He is not normal. You have to learn to say it. Go over to your wife. Hug her. Kiss her. Out of nowhere. She's doing her dishes. Go over to her from the back. Hug her. Kiss her. Let her feel great. She's doing the dishes. Okay, so a few dishes will break in the sink. But big deal. She'll drop them out of excitement. But this is something that's normal to do. Don't do it in front of children, right? Don't go ahead showing off. Not in public. But if there is a need, if a guy doesn't do these things, he's simply not showing his wife enough love. You know, a guy will say, I heard this. It's scary. The rabbi summoned someone to come to him right away. He says to him, your wife came complaining to me. You know what he said to her? Rabbi, about what? I have 9 children with her. What could she complain about? Must be I love her. Especially I have boys. Stupidity. The things you hear and the things people say, you say, what are you thinking? You had 9 boys with her. Does that mean that you care about her? You're not paying enough attention to this woman. She's doing everything for you, this poor thing. You have to give her your full attention, fullest attention. Show her your love. Show her your warmth. Honor her. Do for her. Be always there. Rosh v'rishon lechol davar. Head and first to do anything for her. When she says something, I'm very tired. You know what you do? You say, ready? Honey, I'm ready. I'm going to go to the store, PC Reaches, I'll buy the biggest freezer. Anything on the way, I'll just freeze. The children are bothering you, put them for the night inside the freezer, lock the door. When you get too cold, let us know. We'll open the door for you. You learn to behave respecting your mother. Sure, you're always there for your wife. This is important. This is vital. And this is where how shalom is going to come into the house. That's the only way to have peace. Another one. Right? I give you the worst one of all. A guy decides to tells his wife, I'm not coming home tonight. Why not? I'm out of town. How far are you? I'm in Queens. And where is she? Oh, she's in Brooklyn. Okay, so the car service will cost you $18, $20, $40. Take the car. Go home. She told you, honey, I didn't expect you to come home. She said, how could I not come home? I have such a beautiful wife, home with children. Why wouldn't I come? Why wouldn't I come? Why wouldn't I come? I can't sleep anywhere when you're not near me. This is the way it's supposed to be. Always coming home, even if it means for 5 minutes. If it means to go to work for an hour late, big deal. You tell your boss, I'm sorry, I had an emergency, I couldn't go. What happened? My wife needed a little bit more attention. Okay, so it will cost you something more. But you have to be ready to do such a thing. You see there's a need, you know, it's like babies. You know, you have to, like, you know, when the child is born, you say, what are the rules about feeding a child? You know what the doctor will tell you? It's called supply on demand. The baby cries, you provide. There's no set rules about these things, especially when they're just born. Supply on demand. That's how it works. The same thing is with the wife. She's always there expecting and awaiting more attention. More attention, and it's never enough. Never enough. Always have that ear. Lend her your ear. A lot of guys say, sure, I'll do it. Just take it. No, it doesn't work that way. Pay attention. A lot of times the wife will say, you are not listening. Say, no, I am. No, you are not listening. Say, no, I am. I'm listening to everything you're saying. Say, no, you're not listening. You're not paying attention to what I'm saying. And believe me, the wife knows what she's talking about. She can tell. She knows when you care and when you don't. Another one. Some guys do that. You'll be surprised. They just say, you know what? I don't want to sleep with you in the same bedroom. I'm going to sleep somewhere else. Takes his blanket and his pillow. He's hurt. Going on the couch. Ain't normal. Some guys will tell the wife, can you do me a favor? Go sleep in the other room today. Why? You don't do these things. This is not acceptable. Not acceptable at all. Another one. The guy comes and he says, go to your mother's house. Why should she go? Or she tells him, you go to your father's house. Why should he go? You got married to live together. You got married to do things together. And no matter what, no matter how angry, who cares about, or I'm hurt, I'm upset. And therefore, no such a thing. You always have to be there together. Together forever. That's how it is. Always together. Rabbi Miller used to say always a rule. Never go to sleep at night unless you made peace. Never go to sleep unless make peace. The wife says, stay away from me. Really, she says, come and hug me. You should know that. She says, stay away from me. So really, what she really saying is, I need your attention. I need that hug. I'm dying for it. Always be ready for her. Always be prepared. The wife is looking for attention. Give it to her. And there's many halachot apply. B'ezrat Hashem will do laws of marital relations and laws of family purity. We'll be talking about that, and we'll point out every little detail where a guy has to be awake, on alert, being ready and prepared, knowing, supplying on demand. Another one. I like that one. A husband has to always be looking put together. You know why? Because if you look like a schlep, it says a lot about her. That's very important. Another one, which I love a lot. I like this one. Listen to this. Guys are used to these things. The guy wakes up in the morning and she finds his footprints on the floor in the bathroom. What's this? Oh, I took off my socks and I knew, and I found some black stuff on it, and therefore, so I left some footprints on the way. It's a sign that he was there. Clean up after yourself. Some guys like to do a little bit more. They leave their underwears, their undershirts, they leave their socks around the house. They come in the house, they leave their shoes in the middle of the hallway. So what's this all about? They they wake up in the morning, they don't do their bed. Come on. We don't do these things. A guy took a shower. He left all his stuff there. So, hello, take a napkin, wipe whatever is not supposed to be there. Clean up after yourself. Don't want to pick it up with your hands? Turn on the shower, let the water run a little, clean up a little, make it look presentable. Neaten up the place after yourself. No one is a slave in the house to come to clean up after you. Now this is a rule that people have to know. You have to know how to be alert and being careful not to make a mess around the house. Doesn't mean you have to come and always clean up the house. That's not your job. You see a wife, she's not feeling well, she's not coping, clean up a little bit. Clean up a little bit. Don't tell her how to clean things. Don't tell her how to cook. Stay out of the kitchen. Do yourself a favor, never peel any potatoes in the house. If she's running late, Erev Shabbat, says, I'm not managing, I need someone to come to peel the potatoes. Come, make believe you know how to peel one potato. Cut more than half of it off. She'll tell you, please leave the kitchen. I'll do it myself. Stay out of the kitchen. You have to know where is the limit to where. Don't do things on regular basis. Don't get them used to it. That's not good. It's not for you. Things that have to do about the house, Chazal say, stay out. How the couch should be, what kind of couch, what kind of table. It's not for you. Don't come saying, the furniture you're choosing, someone reclines, it will fall and collapse. You know what she cares about? Not how strong and sturdy it is. She cares about the fact that it matches the curtains. Or she cares about that her neighbors have the same type of break front. That is women. And this is not for you to decide at all. She wants something in the house, you could say, honey, I'm sorry, we're a little bit short on cash, and I want you to decide what will be more important to do and where to use the money. But most of the time you should know. I don't know if everybody will agree, but I have a rule called, comes to money, supply and demand. She needs to give her everything. Here, take it. Hashem will provide more. The same Hashem who gave you that, He'll give you more. Learn to make sure that she is not missing anything. Always. We said about that, we said always to compliment her. Another one, very important. Very important. We said that one is always to make sure that the children see how parents put up a show in respecting one another, in honoring one another, in talking politely to one another, because children will mimic their parents. I told you once a story, there was a story with Rabbi Ades. Hacham Yehuda, he one time came home. He's in old age already. Hashem should have a long life. Amen. Again, Alen was a big tzaddik in Ador, you should know. He had slight paralysis. Half of his face was, he went to a dentist, I don't know who, he actually had slight paralysis. Half of his face was like paralyzed. He couldn't move it. So when he spoke like this. Only half of his mouth was moving. 2 days later, he sees his child talking that way. He grabs him and says, come over here. He says, why are you talking that way? You know what he says? I saw you talking that way. So when he tells him, I spoke that way because, he doesn't know that. There's no because. You have to be always on guard, alert. Always talk with respect to the mother. Always demand honor for your mother, for the wife. Say good things only. The children have to always respect. If I dare hear something like this ever again in the house, then will talk differently. There will be consequences. You raise your voice a little bit just to get the thing across, firm. Tell them, if I ever hear such a thing in the house again, there will be consequences. And the child will realize, uh-oh, this line we do not cross. Another one. Very important one. In-laws. Forget about you acting towards the in-laws the proper way. There has to be always proper respect, two ways. But as far as your wife goes, never say anything about her father. Positive only. Optimism. Never say anything about her brothers. Never say anything about her mother. She will remind you about this for the rest of your life. Women, they collect information. There's another one. I learned this together with Yaakov today. The Gemara says, "Da'aga belevi shechena la'achirim." If there's something that bothers you, Gemara says, either take it out of your mind, don't put your heart to it. Most of the problems get solved on their own. A lot of people go crazy. Oh, there's a problem. Don't worry. Whoever gave you the problem, he will be the one to take away the problem. You don't have to be always on top of the situation. A lot of people like to be on top of the situation. Let go, loosen up. Don't pay attention. It's going to go away by itself. But there's another pshat in that. The Gemara says, if you have a problem, go tell it to somebody else. Pour your heart out. Let it out. A lot of guys, they tell their wife, Lashon hara, chafetz chaim. Can't listen to you. What do you mean? This woman, she's living a havaya. This is a situation where it's like life and death. Pikuach nefesh. If she doesn't get her attention, and she has to tell you something, you have to open your ears and listen to everything she says. And you tell it to her, please tell it to me again. I understood a lot of it, and I want to hear it again because I want to really understand clearly what you're saying. And why this happened, how come that happened. Rabbi Miller says, very important that a husband should always talk to his wife. There are certain words he must say. Yes, 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 sure, why not, how, why, when, where. These words are very important. You just have to come into the house and she says, hi honey, right? Walk in. Always come into the house. Smile. His student once saw how he came in, before he came into the house, he stopped, opened his, took out a brush, he brushed his beard, put his beard behind his ear, fix up, clean himself, and only then walk into the house. There's a lot of respect to the wife. The student asked, Shlomo, he says, Rabbi, what's going on? He says, what do you mean? The Shekhinah is in my house. Hashem's presence is there. I'm going to greet the Shekhinah. That's how he had his outlook. I tell you another story which I forgot. Remarks about food. They say Gaon de Vilna on one of his travels, he went into Galut. He went to Galut. It was the reason why he went to Galut. I don't want to talk about it too much. He visited one house. He came into the house. People did not really know who he was. They put food and soup in front of him. He sat down. The Balabait was sitting at the head of the table. He sat next to him. And the Balabait started to eat. So the Gaon took the spoon. And he took the first spoon and put it into his mouth. As soon as he put it in, he went, very delicious. The Balabait got up for a second, left the house, left the room, let it roll out into the plate. The Balabait came back, continued eating. He said, wow, very delicious food. This people have to work on. This is something to work on. It's very important. Very important. People have to know that this is the way it is. It's needed. We have to learn. We have to understand. You must honor your wife more than you honor yourself. Why? We explained very simple reason. Because they get offended faster. They get offended faster. And we have to be always there on guard, to provide, to be ready, supply and demand. Honey, I'm always ready for you. Never give a remark. You always take a long time to getting ready to go somewhere. Can you please be a little bit faster? Just wait patiently. She's taking her time. Say, if you don't mind, I will go do something extra. Or maybe I could help you with something. Be there patient. Or why? I give you another one. A wife bought something. She bought clothing. Don't say, oh wow, very nice, beautiful. Beautiful. That's not enough. You gotta sit down there and say, can you do me a favor? I like and I see that you bought beautiful. The colors are gorgeous. Can you try it on? I'd like to see it on. I'd like to sit there and look. Say, this is beautiful. Or you know what? This is gonna match with this. That's gonna match with that. And it's really, this is gonna be look beautiful. So you know what? For this, she says, I should have bought. What do you mean you should have bought? You had the money. Why did you say I should have? Go ahead. Tomorrow, go back to the store. Say, come, I'll take you. Go to the store. That attention is always needed. Supply and demand, no matter what.